Good morning, members.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to our guests and also to colleagues that are present in the meeting.
Recording in progress.
Good morning, members. Members, I would like to register an apology for the chairperson. The chairperson will be joining us an hour late due to a delayed flight. The chair will be joining at 11. He has requested Mr. Motle to assist with the chairing of the meeting for the day. Can members hear me?
Yes, Brian, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Motapo. In terms of the rules, members, we would have to elect an acting chairperson. May I request nominations, members?
Motapo, Brian, I hereby formally nominate Honorable Khoshimutle to act as the chair.
Thank you very much, Ms. Motapo. Do I have a seconder?
Lekwatse seconds, Brian.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lekwasi. Do I have any other nominations? There be no other nominations. I hand over to Mr. Motle to preside over the meeting. Thank you, Mr. Motle.
No. Thank you very much, Brian, and good morning to honorable members on the platform, as well as officials from government institutions present here. You may flight the agenda for the meeting Brian, so that we can attend to agenda items. Yeah, thank you very much, Brian. Maybe let me take this opportunity on behalf of the chairperson to welcome you all into this portfolio committee meeting. And you are more than welcome. Feel free to deliberate on issues that we'll be engaging on for today's meeting. I'm not sure if, Brian, you have dealt with apologies, except that one of the chair.
No, we have not, Mr. Mushe. Let me just note the apologies. We have an apology from Minister who is attending a cabinet committee meeting, but she has indicated that in the event that the meeting adjourned, she would be joining the portfolio committee meeting. We also have an apology from Mr. Bond, an apology from Inkosi Cebekulu, and an apology from Ms. Mtembu. Those are all the apologies, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. Members, can we grant those apologies?
Apologies granted, Chair.
All right, thank you very much. We will now proceed to the third item. I will be receiving a briefing by DMV on their second quarter expenditure and performance. Honorable DM, can I invite you to make some opening remarks?
No, thank you very much, Honorable Chair and honorable members of the Oversight Committee. Good morning. Chair, this morning the Department of Military Veterans is appearing before the Oversight to present the second quarter performance report. And also to share the work of the Appeals Board of DMV with the Oversight Committee. Members would have noted that according to the presentation circulated, the second quarter performance of the department is still, as far as the targets that the department planned to achieve, it's still below 50%. The department is still below 50%. It is a matter of concern to the ministry, as it is, I would imagine, to the oversight, that the situation within the department has been stabilized, but it's improving very slowly. It has been stabilized, but improving very slowly. We have looked at the information. What concerns, of course, us is the underspending that still continues to characterize the lay of the land within DMV. As far as spending is concerned, we have spent just half of the money that we should have spent over the period under review. And it is, of course, a situation that is very concerning because the budget of DMV is not a big budget against the needs of military veterans. So with the limited resources we have, we should be using all of that opportunity fully to service this community. The information sheet, I've had the opportunity to look at it. There are areas where the picture from the document is not clearly presented the way in reality things are. And maybe in the course of the discussion, some of those areas will be able to point them out. The presentation of our information in some areas continues not to give an accurate picture of the actual performance. An example of that is, for instance, the support of the department to burials of military veterans. You would see that according to the report, it says we are doing well, it's green because payment is made within 30 days. But we all know that when death occurs, families that must bury their dead don't take a month. Those monies are needed within very short space of time, and it is a very stressful exercise to be mourning and at the same time be concerned about how you are going to be going through the burial because the logistics are not there. So that payment is done within 30 days is not an accurate way of evaluating our performance. And we have raised this matter with the department to the extent that we had actually given the department a timeline within which they must come back to us and table a tender design for purposes of putting in place permanent service providers, undertakers, that the department uses to bury military veterans so that we can expedite this support. It should not be a question of we have paid within 30 days. So there are those areas where the full disclosure of information about the actual performance of the department may not be obvious. However, as I've said, it is a quarter where the performance of the department has been stabilized. And with that said, Chair, let me then, with your permission, invite the acting DG and his management to present the second quarter report. Thanks.
Okay, so thank you very much, DM. Acting DG, the platform is yours, sir.
Morning, Honorable Chairperson, DM, members of the Portfolio Committee on Defense. The Department of Military Veterans will be presenting the second quarter report, as already alluded by DM. But I just want to indicate that last week we had induction with the audit committee, which went very well. But one other thing that the members raised was the issue of the target indicators. They indicated that we have set our target indicators very high, and we must maybe look at the reviewing our target indicators. They indicated that the issue of transport that we might not easily achieve, we must relook at that target indicator. Also, the issue of housing, they raised a concern that how do you account for housing? We must have a way of looking into it also, because the houses are being built by housing settlements. But we said, okay, we'll look into those targets. Actually, in the last meeting with the minister and DM also, minister raised concern, especially on the issue of transport also, to say today South Africa doesn't have public transport, but we have promised the military veterans that we will assist them on that benefit. How are we going to achieve it? So what I'm saying is that the department need to relook at those indicators together with the planners. But thanks, Chairperson. The presentation will be done by Mr. Siengo. Thanks, Chair.
Honorable Muta, Chair.
Oh. So we can't hear anything. What's happening? Chair.
I'm not sure. I'm also experiencing, I thought maybe it's on my side. Admiral?
Yes, Chair,
You just went muted. I'm not sure what happened with your system.
No, I was done. I was saying Mr. Siengo will flag the presentation and present. Waiting for that. Yeah, there it is. Thanks, Chair.
All right, no, thank you. Mr. Siango, you may proceed.
Chairperson, good morning today. Deputy Minister of Defense and Military Veterans, members of the Portfolio Committee, senior officials that have attended the meeting, and also I would like to greet everyone in the meeting today. As indicated, the purpose of the presentation is to present the Department of Military Veterans Quarter 2 report for the 2023-24 financial year. It's going to include both the financial part, financials, and also the performance part, the non-financial part. This is just the outline of the presentation. I think what I will do, Chairperson, I will simply just go to the, to the content itself of the presentation. Basically, in terms of Q2, on its plans, the department had allocated 199 million rands for Q2 to be spent on Q2 based on its projections. And what then the department has done, it has spent 120 million of that 199 million, which amounts basically to about 60% of the expenditure. And what we are seeing is that there is the money, most of the funding, for Q2. We are seeing that now the department is beginning to clear the debt for the healthcare services that was created by the healthcare services, the debt which is due to the Department of Defense for the services that have been provided by SEMS. And also, what we are also seeing is that when we look at the cumulative targets of the department, was I will also show it in table format, Chairperson and members, is that when you look, so that then the members of the portfolio committee can have appreciation of how the department is doing over the 2 quarters. When we look at the cumulative spend for 2 quarters, it is now sitting at 212 million and which is about 50%, and the target for that was about 423 million. Then overall, in terms of the cumulative, where we're sitting now as a department, was sitting at 24% of the budget as it, when we were sitting at 24% of the budget at Q2, at end of Q2 of the 894 million that was allocated to the department. Then when we look specifically at the benefits, this is now benefits that have been provided in Program 2 and Program 3. We see that Program 2 has mostly, the socio-economic support program has mostly been affected by the delay in the rollout of the pension benefit. But we now know, Chair, that as of the beginning of this month, some veterans have been paid off. We're just waiting for the report from CHIPA just to indicate in terms of how many of those have been paid, of those that have applied. But that had really an impact in terms of then the slow expenditure for socio-economic support services. As I indicated earlier on, also the pressure that we're beginning to see, because the department, there was a directive that the department must clear the debt in terms of the healthcare services that is being provided by DOD. So we have been pushing those invoices. Hence, you begin to see now the expenditure in healthcare support, which has shot up for Q2. Then in terms of empowerment and stakeholder management, in this area, Chairperson and members, is that since the department has really improved its its provision for education support, we are beginning to see now an improvement in terms of the payments of school fees the military veterans and their dependents. I will again give the numbers in terms of how many have been paid in Q2, because also as a department we're beginning to see a pressure there, because there are a number of invoices that have been cleared or have been paid to the various schools. As indicated then that in terms of the budget allocation for Q2, 80% of the budget that was allocated for benefits in Q2 has been spent. There was 122 million allocated, or 123 million if you round it off, and 98 million of that has been spent, which amounts to about 80%. This is just a picture in terms of cumulative, so that we can appreciate where the department was at the end of Q2. It was sitting at 24% in terms of the overall allocated budget for the 2023-24 financial year. And then when we look then in terms of the different programs, how they've been performing, and also different economic classifications. This is also in terms of Q2. You are seeing that administration spent 96% of its budget for Q2. I've highlighted the fact that in socio-economic support, the challenge there was the delay in the payment of the pension benefit. I'm sure now that the pension benefit is being rolled out or is being paid out, then that picture will change. And then in terms of then the economic classification, that's then the picture that is being provided. Most of the benefits, chairperson and members, they sit in transfers and subsidies, and also in goods and services. There are those, as I indicated, I think the issue of the transfers and subsidies, you're seeing it sitting at 26%. That's where again the issue of the pension benefit is allocated, where you see no slow expenditure there. Then when we then, I think I've spoken to this, I will not repeat, in terms of painting the picture in terms of cumulative spend as at end of Q2. The department as at end of Q2 was still at 24%. This is now just an indication of how the department is doing in terms of the total allocated budget for the financial year. We've spent 212, So then, when we then move to performance information, overall, the department has 22 indicators which seeks to achieve over the financial year. But basically, some of these indicators are not reported in every quarter. But what we have done in our report is that for those indicators that are not being reported, for example, in each and every quarter, we have provided progress in terms of where we are with those particular indicators towards the progress that we're making towards the achievement of the of the overall performance of that particular target. So for Q2, there were 11 that we targeted, and 5 of those were achieved, which amount to 45%. And this is the breakdown in terms of the areas where these indicators or targets, are being implemented. There's 2 in admin, and none of those were achieved for Q2. There's 4 in socio-economic support, 2 of those were achieved. And there is 5 in the empowerment and stakeholder management, and 3 of those were achieved. Then when you then look in terms of then going specifically then to what the department is saying in terms of why it did not achieve the targets per program, the issue of program 1, it had targeted, the target there was to have an unqualified audit for the 2022-23 audited year. However, as we would be reporting to the portfolio committee for the annual report, the department managed or did get a qualified audit. And these were due to material misstatements of irregular expenditure. However, in terms of the corrective, this is just some of the issues that caused the qualified audit. However, in terms of the corrective action, the department is committing that it's still going to quantify the extent of irregular expenditure during this financial, during now this post the audit, and also so that we are able then to correct the issues that are related to this irregular expenditure. And furthermore, on issues that have been raised by AG, the department is going to be developing an audit action plan. It has started the process already of developing that audit action plan, so that it can address then the issues that have been raised by AG, during the audited period. And in one of the areas also was this issue of the presentation to the portfolio committee, that we had a challenge with this particular indicator because of the travel management agency invoices. There was a backlog in terms of those invoices that were not paid from previous financial years, which basically had an impact in terms of the department trying then to meet this particular target. However, there was a plan put in place by the colleagues in the department that will ensure that the department will clear the backlog by December. And I must indicate to the portfolio committee that based on the reports that we have received, the plan looks to be very effective and working, as the backlog is now being addressed. Then some of these indicators, Chairperson and members of the portfolio committee, it's indicators that we will report in Q4 as per the plan targets. However, what we are saying here in some of these indicators is we have indicated the progress now that we have made in Q2 towards the achievement of these targets in Q4, so that we are able then to keep track of the progress that we are making as a department, so that we will report on this, so that if then there are any challenges, we begin to pick it up as early as possible, so that we can rectify challenges. So we will be keeping track of the progress that is being made, and also making it visible in our quarterly reports. And then this is just a summary then in terms of the progress that is being made in terms of the targets that are being reported outside the reporting period in different areas for program 1. And when we move to program 2, as I indicated, 2 targets were achieved out of the 4 for Q2. I've also highlighted that, without repeating myself again, that we are reporting in terms of the progress that we are making. For example, in terms of houses, we know that for Q1 we reported 15 houses. For Q2, 86 houses were allocated to veterans. As much as we know that we're going to collate these numbers and report them in Q4, but this is a progress that we've made so far in terms of these areas. Where we have not achieved, I must maybe focus on that, is the area of the pension. I've highlighted that we only started, the expectation was that by end of Q2, we would have at least reached a number of 3,250 military veterans, paid money in their bank accounts. But however, because of the, there were just some administrative issues that the department had to finalize between itself and JIPA, which led to some of the delays. But as of beginning of this month, the pension benefits, we've begun to pay the pension benefit. The department transferred, I think, an amount of about 4.2 million rands, about 3 weeks or so back, so that those that were reported by JIPA to have been approved can then be immediately paid. But we are still then awaiting then the report from JIPA, because the payments only went through at the beginning of this month. We are awaiting that report to indicate then how much have been paid as at the beginning of this month. Must indicate we are quite happy that this process is finally underway. We will keep a close monitoring to ensure that if there are any challenges that we encounter, we quickly, resolve such challenges. Because we understand that, as reported by JIPA previously, that there is a huge number of applications that they are processing in their regional offices. So we will keep monitoring the progress with regards to this benefit. Then the issue of the draft strategy or the subsidized public transport, I think the acting DG has spoken to this to say that we do have a challenge with this particular benefit because we rely mostly on the functional public transport system for us to be able to implement this. But what we have committed to as a department, and even in our discussion as indicated by the DG, is that we are still going to develop this strategy because we want to, as a department, to really be clear in terms of how we need to deliver this particular benefit or what we want out of this particular benefit. If whatever the strategy says, whether then there are limitations in terms of us being able to deliver this, I think it must come out clearly from that particular strategy. So we have been consulting, and we are working towards then ensuring that this strategy is in place, which is going to indicate then how we can do it if possible. If not possible, what are the reasons? And it must also indicate what would be the limitations if then we are able then to deliver this particular benefit. Then, as I indicated, in certain areas, what we have also done is to indicate where we are currently for veterans that have been approved for healthcare services. For Q2, 22 veterans were approved, which now brings the total to 184 when you add the approvals from Q1. Most of the disapprovals is because people have not submitted correct documents or incomplete documents, which the department is following up with them. And some basically just based on the policy do not qualify to receive this benefit, so they've been declined for those things. And then when we then indicate then in terms of progress that is being made in areas that probably should not, that in areas that are not being reported, that do not have targets for this Q2. This is the progress that the department is making, and we have clearly outlined in terms of where we are towards the achievement of these targets. Then when we move to the final then program, which is empowerment and stakeholder management, as I indicated, 3 targets were achieved, which amount to 60%. the issue, the PPI 301 deals with memorial lectures. I must, Chairperson, just highlight here that we've really had challenges in finalizing the consultation, because remember, when we do these memorial lectures, there are various stakeholders that must be consulted. Maybe the families, maybe the veterans themselves, or it may be the associations, you know. So there's been delays in terms of concluding such consultations on the planned, you know, memorial lectures. However, we anticipate that an annual target of 4 should be reached, because there are those memorial lectures that are in the pipeline. I know that the colleagues from that section have been having several meetings, and I know there was one that was due to have happened in quarter, I think in quarter 2, but it ended up being postponed. So I think we do have a plan in terms of how we're going to be achieving these memorial lectures. Then the area again where we have not done well in this program is the issue of the veterans provided with access to placement, access to employment placement opportunities. Again, here, as always reported, Chairperson and members, is that we rely on other stakeholders, on negotiations with other stakeholders for the department to be able to open opportunities up for military veterans. So far, I must indicate in this financial year, you know, we've had several engagements with Gauteng province and also KZN. And there's also been an engagement with several state organs like AMSCO and PRASA, you know, with regards to some of the initiatives there. But you know, because I think the consultations have really not yielded, you know, or they are taking slow to be concluded. But we anticipate, really based on the discussions that we are having with these different stakeholders, that at least because we want to really, I think we have discussed this particular indicator as a department and reviewed it to say that we really want to have a sustainable approach to this particular indicator of employment placement, which you know, so that it does not happen piecemeal and ad hocly. So, and hence, then we've got, let's invest more as a department in terms of you know, these discussions that we have a sustainable, you know, relationship between the department and all these other stakeholders that are outside the department. Then again, that what I've just alluded to alludes to PPI 308, Chairperson and members, which talks to number of public-private partnerships signed by the department, because this, if we are able then to achieve this particular target, or there's progress in this particular target, it should really help us, you know, to achieve other. It will have an impact on the issue of job placement and also the issue of business opportunities for military veterans. You know, hence I'm indicating that there have been several engagements that we've been having with various state organs and government departments, so that they can unlock, you know, some benefits or some opportunities for military veterans. Then I've also highlighted earlier on when I presented the financials around the pressure in terms of the bursaries, to indicate that we have really improved in terms of you know, the processes to identify schools that have not been paid, and to collect invoices from those schools to the extent that 253 bursaries were paid in Q2. And the payment of bursaries, again, it's a continuous process throughout the year, depending on when the department receives the invoices from parents or from schools. So it's a continuous process. We will always, in every quarter, be really, because some schools and some parents bring these invoices at different times. Then this is just an indication in terms of the human resource stats as at end of Q2, where we're indicating that the status in terms of numbers. What I must indicate here, Chairperson, is that we are saying here there's currently out of the vacancies in the department. There are a number of I think it's about 16 posts. But I'll just share the number. I'll just check now. There are posts. What has happened here? We have advertised certain positions, and of course, we are in the process of filling those posts. But what has been the challenge in the past has been that process of verifying qualifications, criminal records, and things of these people, because we have now appointed a company which is basically going to assist us just to do that, because that has mostly been the delay in filling the posts, because we've been doing them individually through the supply chain process, getting a company whenever we advertise. But now that we have a company in-house that we've appointed, it should now move faster in terms of verification of these posts, because that's always been the delay with these appointments, that we have to wait longer periods for whenever a person has been recommended for that particular to be appointing people that have a history that's going to cause problems in the department. So basically, this is just the picture there in terms of HR stats as at the end of Q2. I think that's the end of the presentation. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Siembo, for the presentation. Members, I'm now going to grant you an opportunity to engage the presentation. I see on the platform there's a hand of Honorable Malia Keshelembe.
Chair, yes, are you giving me, Chair, an opportunity? Thank you. Well, Chair, forgive
an opportunity.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Chairperson. Forgive me, my voice not good. Just got the flu, but I'll try. Chair, I don't want, to be like maybe one is fighting, but just to put the facts on the table. Chair, is very, very, disturbing that when one looks, at the pending issue of the pensions rollout, but the department right now can't give an answer if how many military veterans have been able, to benefit from that pension. And they say now they are waiting for the report from, the relevant department to give them information. But I think, Chairperson, when they were coming to do a presentation here, they were fully aware that, we will be looking at that report. As you know that, it has been pending for years, and we are all now happy that now on the side of the minister, everything has been done, it has been published, and it's now the department to say how many, at least by now, but they are saying they can't give us an answer. Secondly, Chairperson, I just want to know, how are we going, how are military veterans going to know if their application has been attended. For instance, they say the military veterans will get a response within 90 days, if I'm not mistaken, which to me, is taking long. But what is important is that now they are rolling out. If they have paid maybe, say, about 2,000, at least, Chairperson, we must have the picture so that at least things are happening. But it's unfortunate that we are sitting today. We do not know, and we don't know when is the next meeting to get that report. I would request that from you, Chairperson, that if they don't have the answers today, if maybe they can be in contact with the Chairperson to say, so far this is happening while we are waiting for the next meeting. But for now, Chair, up until December, if I look at it, we won't be able to get information whether this thing is happening. And we can't wait for next year to come back and get, another excuses. So I'll request that Chairperson, if they don't have exactly the answers now, but they give us an indication when this portfolio committee will have, information in this regard. The second one, Chairperson, is the issue, of the housing. I know that, Chairperson, on various, oversight that we have, especially the one we had in the Eastern Cape, we had to experience, number of problems, with the housing issue. And it was indicated that because now we have these housing offices in provinces, at least matters will be addressed. Now, my question, Chair, seeing that, we are not doing well, I will ask something, but it will be to the benefit of this committee, Chair, though, it's not, in that presentation. Chairperson, in KwaZulu-Natal, we have a problem where military veterans have, what you call taken their building of a private person illegally. And I'm told that, the department is paying, hundreds or 800 million. I'm checking if the department is aware that, there's such a problem in KZN. And then if the department is aware, how much is the department paying to that Arrow Ridge, flats in Westgate, that is Pietermaritzburg? Because if, Chairperson, this continues, it means now big money is being spent. And also it has been reported that some of the military veterans who have taken over those flats are not accredited military veterans. Maybe if they have an idea if the department is paying anything towards, that flat in Pietermaritzburg. The last one, Chairperson, on the transport strategy. Chair, it's very, very worrying. You were with us in the Eastern Cape where people were complaining that they can't even go to access their medication because of the transport problem. But now in the report, they say is in the consultation process. I think maybe, Chairperson, I missed, that strategy. If it's on the consultation, I don't remember seeing it. What is in it? Because I know that it will include the issue of SA, maybe taxis or transport, flights, trains, all that stuff. I don't know what is in that strategy. If maybe, Chair, you have an idea of that strategy that is in a consultation process, I'd appreciate maybe if you don't, maybe they will assist me as well. So for now, Chairperson, I'm very, very concerned seeing that, instead of progressing, we are experiencing problem, in this regard. For now, Chair, let me wait for the answers on these ones, and then I will take it from there. Thank you.
Okay, Honorable Mafanya, you are next. There's who's on 27660. I see your hand is up.
No, Chair, it's Mr. Mukwala from DNV. I'm just raising to respond to the questions that the Honorable Shilembe has been raising. But
I'll hand over to the department for response. I'm just taking questions from members at this point. Honorable Mafanya.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thanks for the presentation. And thanks to the DM's presence in this meeting. Unfortunately, my network is not that good. That's why I'm not showing my face on this regard. Through you, Chair, I understand that we have to engage with the report itself. And then it is in accordance with what we all agree on. Whenever people make a presentation, we engage with that.
But taking into account that the department, we have had so many meetings that we had to postpone, waiting for the same kind of report, and wherein we were not even happy about how the department has been treating the committee. Now, the question that arises all the time is that the work that is done by GAP is being outsourced to GAP because the department could not or did not even have the capacity to do that. And by outsourcing, we had to sweat out some monies to pay for GAP to do the work that they were supposed to have done. And number two, we have been told about vacant posts that also is going to be the job to have those posts filled. We have to outsource again to get a private company to come and attend to the matter as well. So taking into account in the sixth administration that we've been struggling to come to terms with quite a few things that we wanted the department to address. And to a point where we even came to a conclusion that administratively, the department is not competent to handle the issues of military veterans. And because of that, I, for one, I want to be put on record that I would have recommended, or I still recommend that the administrative staff or whatever that is happening at the DM should be put on administration, taking into account the kind of backlash that we get from the military veterans on the ground, where they have to have protest marches and meetings for the sake of being addressed, and legitimately so. They are within their right to see that these things have been sitting there since 2011 to date. We are still struggling with one thing because of their department. I would like to pause there. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Was that the last hand, members? I can't see any other hand on the platform. All right. No, thank you very much. Maybe in addition, before I hand over to you, Admiral and your team for responses, may you also clarify us on the issue of filling of vacancies, because maybe somebody seated home might wonder how best are you going to achieve these important programs or targets you set for yourself while you are having so many vacancies that are not filled. We have engaged with you previously on the matter. Have you registered progress with regards to SMSs and other posts below that, and maybe just share with us your targets? Do you have time frame as to when you are going to fill this post, or it's just business as usual? You just advertise and wait for some salvation to come somewhere else. I think members have also raised their concern around the performance, the overall performance of the department, which is, of course, a concern that we need to look into. And acting DG, we had hope, and we still have hope that your presence in the department with some militancy will be able to turn things around so that we see the department moving in the right direction and ensuring that it delivers on its mandate, which is to serve the community of military veterans. So far, I don't think the department is doing that well. Looking at the presentation that has been presented now, ordinarily you are supposed to be, your second quarter should put you at 50%. You are not yet there. Maybe just for information sharing, share with us your progress insofar as military payment benefit is concerned. How far is cheaper? What is then the role of the department? Have you managed to satisfy yourself with what they have captured insofar as applications are concerned? And how have you dealt intensively with or categorized those applicants that are directly from military veterans themselves and those that are from beneficiaries of military veteran? If you have done that exercise, can you be able to tell us how it went about? What are the percentage? What are the numbers? Or you have just allowed that process for JIPA to run with it? But you have a responsibility to monitor the process because you are the custodian of that process. It should not be difficult for you to access that information and ensure that it's validated, and whenever you will be rolling out these payments, there will be no complication, and all deserving veterans and their dependent will be able to benefit without questions raised or complaints raised in this regard. So with that said, I'll hand over to you, Admiral, and your team.
Thanks, Chairperson. Chairperson, with the issue of members who were paid by JIPA, we were not informed, but what I can indicate now is that we have transferred 4.8 million to JIPA for the payment of the members for month of October. We have not yet get feedback as to how many people they paid that end of October, but it's something that which is in the process. We'll communicate with them to get the feedback. But 4.8 million of the pension was paid to, was transferred to JIPA. The issue of vacant posts, we managed to fill most junior posts except the SMS post that we're supposed to fill. The members will know that we had 2 vacant posts of the DDGs, that those posts are vacant, and 2 chief directors posts and the director legal and deputy legal. We have attended to the deputy director legal post and the deputy director HR. At the moment, we have acting HR, director HR. So what I can indicate is that with the cost containment measures, is not making things easier for us, but we have already written the submission for the minister. It's for us just to request the minister to have concurrence with the Minister of Finance on the issue of the senior posts. But on the issue of database requested by Mr. Shilembe, I'll request Mr. Matsafu to answer to that because it's within his environment. And the issue of housing, Mr. Mkwala will also answer to that one. Thanks, Chairperson.
Yes, sir, they may take the platform.
Thanks, Chair. I will start with the issues of the. I'll take from where the Admiral has explained on the issue of pension, and I'll also go to the housing issues in the Eastern Cape and housing issues in KZN. And I'll also end with the draft strategy for subsidized transport. On the issue of pension, the Admiral is correct that we transferred 4.8 million so that it start being dispensed by GPA from this month. So the transactions of payment, I think from their ICT production in GPA, you know that it will take in batches. So it will be not a full comprehensive report to give as it is as and when they process them. It's rather that we wait for the files to complete so that we give one report, so that the concept of providing a report, it will be one single truth that goes out to the community. So in giving GPA time to run that file up until they complete, I think it will help us all so that not different versions are given out there. As soon as that process is completed, we will be able to give you month on month how much GPA is dispensing. On the issue of housing in the Eastern Cape, Tatesh Lembe highlighted that there are issues, and that is true. In Chetty, houses are being built currently, but there are anarchy of people disturbing the construction to go ahead. And those are from comrades who are not in the database. And you should be able to remember that the verification, even before it stopped, it ran in Eastern Cape and completed. So these ones who still are not in, it means that we still have to go back there to process them to make sure that indeed they are military veterans. From a DMV point of view, this is how the standard operating procedure works. The city in which the houses are built, they are built and completed by contractors. The human settlement pay the full amount and will pay back the top up as a DMV to those that are military veterans. So that in that process, I just want to highlight that we will not pay for somebody who is not a military veteran, who is not in the database, who has occupied a house either legally or illegally. On those kind of monitoring, we just make sure. That is what is happening in the Eastern Cape, and we are getting reports every now and then from the chief director at that site. Actually, our plan is to go down week after next, because the plan was that next week we will deal with the issues of the Western Cape. I want to come back to the issues of KZN. Yes, in Aloe Ridge, properties were occupied by, let me say, by citizens. So what Human Settlement did was we took the list of all those people and we checked who are in the database, who are not. And we know that unlike Eastern Cape where verification happened, in KZN, it still has to happen. But what Human Settlement did was that we made an arrangement that those that are in the database will be provided the 50 square meters. But those that are not in the database will be provided the 40 square meters. That is the decision of Human Settlement because of the delay of the verification. But they further on did an analysis, Chair, to say that on those people that are occupied, how many do really deserve their houses? And you know that we've got our controls as DMV to check who is in the database and who is not. But Human Settlement have their own control where they check whether you deserve an RDP kind of a house, whether you are not double DP, whether you are within the threshold of a person being allocated a house, or whether you were allocated an RDP before. So they did those analyses and they found out that we can share with the states later on how many really are falling by the wayside and how many can they build their houses for. And in that process, we went to KZN, myself and my team, and checked whether those developments are underway. And we were told in the Etiquini areas, these are the plans for buildings that will be happening. And in Mngungudlovu, these are the plans of the houses that are being developed. In all of that, I can say from DMV side, we are really monitoring the situation, ensuring that this process run as is how it's supposed to be. On the indication of those cities that showed us that they are busy with the development, they assured even the timelines. Some will be completed by December, some might be completed by next year, March. But we know from our applicant how many are in the database and are qualified and will be able to be provided with those houses. And further on, because this was not asked, in the Western Cape as well, when we arrive there, we are having a meeting with the chief director that side to ensure that the issues of Bella and many others, we are looking at them, ensuring that we are cleaning them as we're supposed to do, Chair. Lastly, let me deal with the issue of transport subsidy. In the past, or maybe let me say in 2014, when the regulations were drafted, they were saying that a military veteran will have a card to be able to accumulate through when they get into a certain transport, a mode of transport. But we discovered that the infrastructure doesn't allow that. You know, there's no electronic broadband where you go into a Patco bus and you swipe a DMV card and it tells you that this is a military veteran and he can access this benefit or not. And we had a number of meetings with the Department of Transport to check which areas are ready and which areas are not ready. We even asked it the other way around to say, how many transport modes are government entities so that we can be able to put those electronic broadband on them quicker so that they can be able to fast track. We know there are rare buyers in the cities. Those were the areas that were identified. But the problem with those kind of buses, they are not in every metro areas. In some metro areas, they are just not available there. PRASA as well is one of the government transport mode that we can put those systems, and also the long distance transport. So given that the infrastructure is not ready, we came back to say maybe let's relook at the draft strategy to find out, because when we were making discussion with the Department of Transport, we understood that Sanral is a central point where all mode of transport systems are transacting from. Maybe it would be better to engage also Sanral and say, how if you can put this kind of an electric broadband to make sure that these integration processes that are happening, so that when we start rolling out this benefit, we are not rolling in partial areas. So those were some of the scenarios that you're looking at. And yes, and Tateshi Lembe, as you highlight that in the Eastern Cape, there are challenges of military veterans who are accessing medical areas, and the transport is a problem. Is one of the scenarios that we are saying in this draft strategy. We are also looking at that. Mr. Siengo highlighted to you that when we presented to audit committee, they also gave us number of flashpoints to say, maybe look at this, look at this, and look at this. At the time where this draft strategy will be at a certain advanced stage, we'll be able to share for certain inputs so that we ensure that whatever that ends, it really solve the problem that we're trying to solve, not partially solving for other people, and you find that other areas we are not solving and creating more of a problem instead of solving a problem. I will stop right there, Chair. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair. Well, I think
Yes.
Yes, it's already here, Chair. Matsafu.
Yeah, proceed, sir.
Yes, I think Mr. Mkwala covered the issues insofar as the housing is concerned, which relate to the database, unless if there's an additional issue specific to the database that we have to clarify. Thanks, Chair.
All right. Thank you. Honorable Shelembe, I see your hand is up. You want to make a follow-up? Or your questions were not sufficiently responded to?
Yes, Chair, I just want to make a follow-up because I don't think some of the questions were answered, especially, Chair, let me not go far. What I want to know, as we are getting the fact that it's true that, a building, a private building in Pietermaritzburg was taken over by military veterans, but some of those, are not accredited. I'm happy with the answer that they are looking to it. Now, I'm checking a chairperson in terms of paying to that, a private owner, because it's believed that, some of the amount of money is being paid. I just want to know, where is this money coming from? Is it coming from the DMV or is it coming from the National Treasury? And then what's happening to paying for those who are not entitled to be in that building? I'm fine. If maybe you can assist me on that, how much is being paid every month? And then the second one, I believe there is also a court order that these people must be removed by December. And then are there any arrangement that will be able to accommodate those military veterans in December so that we do not, expect more problems, especially for those who are not accredited? I know, as he's saying, there are projects that are going on, like, if you go to, like Umshwati for military veterans, just that, how much are they paying? Are they ready, to vacate the building by December as instructed by the court? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Honorable Shelembe. Maybe in addition, so that you will respond once, I forgot to raise one question around your presentation in terms of facilitation of employment for military veterans. I don't think the department is really doing enough to ensure that you achieve that target. You know, at some stage in Parliament, the President made a commitment that there should be set aside for military veterans in terms of insofar as empowerment is concerned. And I think it is the Department of Military Veteran that must be at the center of that program to ensure that military veterans are empowered, to ensure that the industry in the sector heed to the call. It should not only be physical employment. The empowerment of military veterans can come in different forms. So how far, what is it that you are doing around that call? And Have you taken time to look at, monitor that program with various departments to say, particularly those in the sector or the defense industry? Just last week, we visited one company there in Cape Town, Denman, and we visited this other one, what do they call it? Something with Dinel ammunition. They reported on the work that they are doing to empower military veterans, as well as the Denman shipyard in Cape Town also have reported, but this information doesn't seem, it happens, but it doesn't seem that the department is aware of what is happening, and you are supposed to ensure that the system is managed by yourself to avoid a situation where non-military veterans are benefiting from the benefits that are meant for military veterans, because you are the custodian of the database. Therefore, nothing can be done without your consultation and approval of who is a military veteran, who's the rightful beneficiary, and who will not be the rightful beneficiary. To that extent, can you share with us what is it that you have put in place to ensure that you facilitate the program to that effect? Yeah, thank you very much. I'm handing back to you. I'm not sure who will come, acting DG, to
Thanks,
deal with the first question of Honorable Shilembe and my additional question.
Thanks, Chairperson. I think Mr. Mkwala would close that one of Honorable Shilembe. But on the issue of facilitating the employment of the military veterans, on our side, we being assisted by AMSCO. There are discussions with AMSCO, and I think maybe DDG can come with that, because it is environment which is dealing with AMSCO in terms of this thing, employment of military veterans in terms of skills development. We also recently had a company called Marco in Val Triangle, which has indicated that they would be able to train military veterans in skills development. So the members were in touch with our members at the environment of Ms. Mafu's section. Yes, I know in the case of maybe before Mr. Mukwala comes back on the issue of housing, or answering to what Honorable Silembe has asked, I just want to indicate, Chairperson, that we got a report from JIPA that 230 cases were through the admission process and 12 were disapproved, as they were found to be earning from the state, and 40 payments were through successfully. And they also indicated that 172 were approved cases, but applicants have not submitted banking details. They said it's strange that when they start looking for the statement of the members, then the member, they don't respond. But what I'll ask Chairperson on this issue, because it might be just a long report, I'll ask that I submit a report on the issue of feedback of JIPA to honorable members if it is accepted.
Yeah, maybe Admiral, I see the hand of Honorable Petla. I just want you to maybe let's pause with those responses and take the question so that when you respond, everything is covered at once and we move to the next agenda item. Honorable Petla, you raised your hand very late.
I don't think it's late, Chair, but thank you very much because mine is not a question, but is to share. Maybe this can help Admiral and his team. And the example that I'm going to make input on is that on the 4.8 million that is being paid to JIPA, but they don't know for how many people that amount of money should be dispersed to. I don't think that is an accurate financial governance, well structured in that regard. Because prior issuing any money to any institution, you must know as to how many people you're going to pay for and how much is that amount for. And now my concern is that hence the department is finding itself, and this is an assumption, that from time to time they're having an overspending is because they don't have accurate numbers as to how much are we paying for how many people and what it should happen. And they're not working alone. Surely they're working together with the HR department that will also help them in these numbers. From time to time, they give numbers, but they give amount of monies, but they don't have accurate numbers. And we'll keep on having this kind of a challenge. I think they need to improve in that particular regard. And it's driven by a question where they'll give you a number. For an example, they say 174 military veterans, then 22 were accepted, but most did not comply. Then it will not help the department to monitor their improvement and their decreasing in terms of the challenges that they're having. If they may find a way to ensure that their database, as in when they are putting on the reports, they're giving us the numbers that are going concurrently with whatever figures they have. And if it was not because of Popia having names, but they themselves, that site, they are having names, they are able to can calculate and know who's offset and how many and what is happening. And it will reduce from time to time having the similar challenges that will be a lifetime challenge, and it can be correct in terms of governance for the department. Thanks, Chair.
All right, no, thank you very much. Back to you. I'm not sure that Admiral, you had called Mr. Siango to deal with the rest, or Mr. Matsafa.
Chair, thank you, Chair. I think the one-off pension, I'll leave it to CFO. Because I know initially JIPA was saying they've got 600 members that were by then approved by them that they're eligible members. And the number went down to 300 again. But transferring the money to them, I think CFO would be able to answer that. But I know initially there was that 600 and it went down to 300, but I'm not sure now. CFO can be able maybe to speak to that. Thanks, Chair. And Mr. Matsafu will come on the issue of the database.
Okay, yeah, in that order.
No, thank you, Chair. Thank you, DG. Good day, honorable members and the colleagues. Yes, we do take the advice from the honorable member, yes, good governance is what we'll always strive to achieve, and we will abide by it. But just to clarify, the 4.8, when we were required to make the transfer, that was in regards to the assumption that we will also do back payment, Chair and honorable members. And internally, there is a process of validating once JIPA has processed, because they will send a report back to us. That transfer, we don't expense it immediately. We put it on a suspense account, so that then when it gets back to us in the form of a report and the proof of payment, we'll also reconcile on our records before then we post it as an expenditure on our site. I thought I should just give comfort to say we do have even a signed standard operating procedure between the department and JIPA, so that we exercise control and good governance. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Well, I'll just try to respond to the database issue insofar as the JIPA process is concerned. We provided JIPA with a database of registered military veterans, and JIPA will then apply their process to check how many of the veterans will qualify for the pension payout. Therefore, I think it will be prudent for us to then wait for the report back from JIPA in terms of the numbers of the people who qualified to get the pension payout and those who did not qualify after they applied their process to determine the qualification criteria. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Yes,
I'm not sure. Yes.
It's Mr. Mukwala here. It's on the first question that Shilembe asked on.
Okay, and then a memo will follow.
Okay. On actually what happened in KZN and it happened in all the construction sites, human settlement will put developments, but before those developments are completed or when they are completed, people will come and occupy them. Those are government structures that are being built to be completed, and that's what happened also in Alorich. So the question would be, those people will be required to be neutralized into those positions for some reason that they say they waited and waited for their houses and they couldn't get them. But in Alorich, some of them were military veterans. Hence, I highlighted that we had to check to make sure that those that are not in the database will get the 40 square meter, and that was the agreement with human settlement that it actually happened. But and when we were at that site 3 weeks ago, Chair, we had a meeting with human settlement, DDG, and his team, and those remedies were actually done. On the part where DMV has to pay for people sitting in some certain structure that is private, we never discussed such a situation. And if there is such a situation, I think also human settlement that side would have informed us of. We really have no idea on that one. And if it is the burning issue that Shilembe want a report on, we can communicate with them and find exactly what happened. And lastly, when I was saying, when a development happened and completed, because it's a supply chain of human settlement, they pay for it in full and they claim the top up from DMV later. So in a case where a person is not in the database, we really don't budge on that one. We won't pay as DMV or instruct Treasury to pay for people who are sitting in a private setup that we really are not so sure of. So hence, as the CFO has also highlighted, we are very prudent in ensuring that we run as our legal prescripts are providing. We don't want the Auditor General to find us wanting. Thanks, Chair.
Yes, Ma'am, I saw your hand.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good morning to all honorable members, DM, Chairperson of the Appeals Board, DG. The issues that are raised by Honorable Muntle are correct. The department is unable to report on jobs created and even empowerment. We are having two benefits that should be assisting the department: education support, especially the tertiary side, skills development. What is lacking, Chairperson, is the mechanism where, after training, whether in skills or in education support, we then get feedback as a department as to what are those military veterans or their dependents are doing after we've given or empowered them, after we've given them education or empowered them. We have had a meeting with the Deputy Minister, and he kind of gave us a strategic direction as to how best maybe we could be able to achieve that mechanism. And his suggestion was, if the market is in need of, let's say, artisans in boiler making or artisans in building, then we should be training and responding to that gap in the market. And that way we'll be able to then follow the people whom we trained and we absorbed. So that is an angle that we are now gravitating towards, so that we can be able to monitor the output and match it with the opportunities that were given to military veterans and their dependents. At the moment, Chairperson, you are right, we are not reporting, but it is my belief that there is a lot happening around the benefit of empowerment and the benefit of job opportunities. It's just that we lack the mechanism to be able to report on. Thanks.
Yeah, the question, Ma'am, is what is it that you are doing? Because you know the opportunities are there. You have a responsibility to coordinate them, and you are not coordinating them for the benefits of military veterans. The reason is, what are you doing to ensure that you close that gap so that you are able to report? Because these things are happening without your knowledge, and you are the responsible department to coordinate those.
Thank you, Chairperson. In the example that was raised by the DG, we sign memorandum of agreements so that we can have a controlled environment and that we are able to monitor. We have recently got into a strategic plan with AMSCO, and they have articulated opportunities that we should be exploring. We have been to ESCOM, Chairperson, to also look at their set-asides, to look at opportunities within the environment of tenders. We are doing all sorts of things. We've gone to defense industry companies to also plead for jobs. There's a lot that we are doing. It's just that we have not been able to then bring back a concrete results in terms of job placement or empowerment. But we should then be, as a department, be able to report each time we come to the portfolio committee on progress done. And I think next time we come, Chairperson will be able to do that. Thanks.
All right, no, thank you. Let's hope you will be able to do that. I'm not sure, Honorable Shalem, is this a legacy hand or it's an old hand? Are you happy with the responses?
It's a legacy hand.
All right, no, thank you very much. Yeah, those are the issues. There's a commitment, acting DG, that you will look into these areas that we have raised, and you'll be able to, in the near future, report on progress. Because honestly speaking, there's much that can be done to address issues of military veteran without looking at the internal budget, and you need to explore other avenue, and as opposed to looking at what is available in the department. I hope that will then be executed for the benefit of military veterans, because we can't always pay lip service whilst we know that the situations of military veterans is dire out there. We don't seem to be acting in their best interest. So I hope things will then tilt to their favor going forward. With that said, thank you very much. Maybe let me invite DM to make an input, and we step out of this item.
Chair, thank you very much. Excuse me, for the reflections of the committee members shared on the second quarter report of the department. I want to appreciate the effort of management to provide as much information as is possible through their responses to the questions raised. My apology, Chair. There is a concern that is well placed, which the committee has raised around ratcheting up the performance of the department. And with respect to that, Chair, there are very central issues that we must make sure that we address them. And among them, it's the strengthening of the back end of the department, the corporate support services of the department. The point you have raised about the vacancies that are reflected in the report, we have 28 vacancies, funded vacancies in the department, is a problem. The DG suggested that if I was following his comments properly, suggesting that the department has outsourced the filling of vacant posts. If that is the latest development in the department, of course, it's a development which has not been reported to the ministry that that is work that they have outsourced. And the concern, of course, raised by the committee that there is work that should not be outsourced, work that we must have in-house capacity to execute. It's a valid comment. We will look into what the situation is in relation to that report from the department, because indeed, if we continue with the vacancies at senior management level in services like legal services of the department, in services like the human resource division of the department, in services like supply chain, in services like internal audit controls of the department, the overall picture is not going to change anytime soon. So these vacancies must be filled. Chair, you're correct. We've got to fill these vacancies as a strategic agency of the department. I have noted, Chair, that the oversight is anxious to get a report on the rollout of the military veterans pension. And the point raised by Honorable Member Shilembe, that the department has come to the oversight today without information around that. I want to say to the committee that that information on the rollout of the pension, as the acting DG and other managers have indicated, we'll provide that report in time. We are also in the ministry quite, anxious to see the picture, how things are panning out. And we'll soon be getting that. I spoke last week with the CEO of JIPA. She's eager to give us a preliminary report of things that they are encountering, things that were possibly in the planning period whenever visible or anticipated. It is in the nature of this work that it is only when you have commenced action that weaknesses that may have that may not have been fully appreciated, surfaces. So in time, we will bring that report, update the oversight about the rollout of the military pension. But today's meeting was for the department to present on the second quarter performance. And the second quarter performance does not include, of course, the activities that we are talking about. As indicated, this rollout only commenced at the beginning of this month. We will bring that report. Honorable Member Shilembe should not worry about the possibilities that the department is paying for accommodation of military veterans in private property somewhere. That will not happen. When it happens, it will immediately constitute an audit query because policy does not say so. Policy says we must provide housing to military veterans. We must deliver houses. It doesn't say we must hire or rent accommodation for military veterans. And that is why even in the audit reports of the department, that will be discussed when we discuss the annual, report of the department. The situation that we found ourselves in, where for prolonged periods the military veterans who were being accommodated in boarding facilities around Pretoria and money being paid for, it has been raised as an audit query. So that is just not part of the practice of military veterans in providing housing to military veterans. Director Mukwara has explained that in Aloridge, the occupation of flats there is not an obligation that the Department of Military Veterans is caring to pay for those who are sitting in those flats. The challenge of the Department of Military Veterans is that we have, as far as housing is concerned, pressure on the department. The department is being stampeded by people who do not deserve any housing from the Department of Military Veterans. That is the truth, and that is the reality. All kind of fraudulent means are being employed by citizens to get housing from the Department of Military Veterans, citizens who are not military veterans. And in that respect, I also want just to say that the point made by Director Mukwala that we have agreed to, or rather there is not an agreement, that there is a view that the department will provide houses to those who are on the database of the department, which is the correct thing to do, but that will also provide ordinary RDP units to those who are not on the database. We must correct that. There is no decision to that effect. It is not the responsibility of the Department of Military Veterans to provide any other citizen who is not on the database with housing. Because if we take that stance, we're going to create a problem for ourselves. Citizens who know they have, at this point, the challenge of producing evidence that they are bona fide military veterans. As far as housing is concerned, it means they have to queue with everybody who is waiting for the ordinary housing unit as provided by the Department of Human Settlement. Until the individuals are on the database and we are able to provide them with houses whose specifications are those that are meant for military veterans. To approach the problem in any other way, it is going to create more problems for the department than minimize the province's problems that we have. There is a lot of details around housing in the different provinces. And I am happy that the department's officials have been attending to these provinces one after the other in accordance to the specifics of the challenges that we have there. The Chetty program in the Eastern Cape is another very peculiar problem we have there. A project which was meant to build houses for military veterans, but by military veterans companies. And those companies, the report that my office got was that they went past and the balance of the units that were to be built could not be delivered, and military veterans were therefore disadvantaged. So it is military veterans who must be provided with houses who are disadvantaged by other military veterans who are involved in the delivery of those houses. So it's a complication we have there, it was never foreseen, it was never intended that we are going to delay delivery of houses that is going to be caused by military veterans. It was with good intentions that military veterans companies were given the opportunity, but that's where we are there, and we've got to find a way of expediting the resolution of that problem together with the Deputy Minister of Human Settlement. The issue around the draft strategy to provide public transport to military veterans, I think we should for now agree that an update on that benefit will be brought to the oversight. Because as the DG has said, there is already a sentiment that this benefit has to be reviewed in its entirety. Because providing access to public transport to military veterans assumes that there is a public transport system in the country. And we all know that our public transport system, it's a very disjointed system, and you have the system under different enterprises. In some areas it is government, in other areas government subsidizes, in other areas it is entirely privately owned. And the provision of access to free public transport, it's good intention, but not very practical and realistic under our circumstances. And the ministry has made that observation that we need a review of this particular benefit. But of course, it is not only the delivery modality of this benefit that was a problem. The point is, even as we would by now have the modality designed, the budget of the Department of Military Veterans would have to be augmented in order to provide for this benefit. It is one of those benefits in the Act, which since the Act was introduced, the budget has never been adequate to cover, just as it was the case with the pensions. So there are all those issues around that benefit which needs to be resolved. I would leave it there, Chair and honorable members. The other, points raised, I have noted them, and we can share information in future meetings. Chair, the point that you are making about, the economic rehabilitation of our military veterans, it's a very, very valid observation that the department is very weak there. And it is not like the opportunities are not there. Good example is that with the PTT established by the president, all government departments, I'm now talking nationally, were called upon to indicate what is it that they can do to support the Department of Military Veterans in addressing the plight of this community. The economic transformation cluster components, those departments, whether we're talking agriculture and everyone else, they have been willing to assist. Whether we are talking in relation to jobs or in relation to enterprises of military veterans going into those spaces. The point is the capacity of DMV to make sure that there is coordination and protocols put in place, service level agreements put in place with those departments where economic opportunities for military veterans can be, exploited. So that is an area of work which the department, we will make it a point that we improve it, as the DDG commented earlier on. But it is it's well received criticism. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, DM, for your closing remarks on the item. I think we have had enough deliberation on the matter. It's safe to say we are hopeful that the department will take into consideration some of the issues that have been raised by the portfolio committee and look at best possible ways to implement them for the benefit of the community that you are servicing. With that said, thank you very much. That concludes our discussions on this item. Can we then move to, I've seen the chair has joined the meeting. I want to hand over back to you, Chair. The next item on the agenda is Brian, you'll help me. I think it's
the Appeals Board.
The Appeals Board. We'll now be taking a briefing from the Appeals Board. Chair, may you take over your meeting?
Please, Honorable Mutle, please go ahead. I'm in the meeting. Thank you very much for welcoming me. Please go ahead.
Oh, all right. No, thank you very much. May I now invite the Appeals Board to take us through? Honorable Shalembe, please lower your hand because it's confusing.
It's confusing. It's confusing.
Yeah, you are confusing me because I think you want to raise some point.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Appeals Board, I've seen Nomsad Lamini.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Deputy Minister of Defense and Military Veterans, Honorable Makwetla, honorable members of the Portfolio Committee, Acting DG, Admiral Hlongwane, and the executive management of the DMV, officials and colleagues. Good morning. I would ask the members of the staff to assist me to flight the presentation. So on the presentation outline, I would be covering the purpose of this presentation, the background, the legal framework, the establishment and appointment of the new appeal board, the powers and duties of the appeal board, the operations of the appeal board, and also the challenges. I will continue. The purpose is just to give this presentation to the Portfolio Committee on Defense and Military Veterans, also to outline our operations and the challenges. The background is that the previous appeal board's term ended in November 2021, and it's a little less than 2 years in terms of the gap between the previous appeal board and the current one. The new appeal board was appointed with effect from September the 1st, 2023. I will talk about the legal framework that informs our work, where we take our direction from. It is the Constitution of the country in Section 33 that actually
It's disappeared. Chair, I don't know what is my phone.
I've noted that. I'm not sure what is, but she's still in the meeting. She's still in the meeting. I'm not sure what is the problem. Can you hear me, Lamina? I'm not sure what is the challenge there. I think
It's gone missing now.
the system has kicked out. Is she the only one in the meeting from the appeals board?
Chair, this is Prince Mafojani. I'm a member of the appeals board, but we actually had arranged that the chairperson would present, and because of other commitments, we really were not part of the preparation for the presentation before the committee. Yeah, this puts us in a bit of an invidious position, because even if one were to go with the presentation, it would be done on the hoof, which is really not fair to members of the committee. So I perhaps maybe would, at this point, yield the floor to our chairperson in case the connectivity is restored. And I beg the pardon of the committee members.
Is she back in the meeting? I can't see. Who's flighting the presentation? Because I don't see Lamini back on the platform.
Yeah, that's the challenge that I have also on my side, Chair, that I'm not able to also see the presentation, and perhaps one could pick up from there and take some talking points from the presentation.
Yeah,
facing the same challenge from this side.
I think Puseles or M is sharing the presentation. Yeah, so somebody from appeals board needs to step in and assist while the chair is still challenged. Are you able to proceed with the presentation, sir?
Chair?
Yes.
I have just
Chair, as I said,
maybe let's
yes.
wait. Let's hear from
I am so sorry. I don't know what happened. I just realized that I was off.
So you are back. You'll be able to proceed with the presentation.
Yes. Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you, Chair of the Appeal Board.
Thank you.
Ms. Mafojani here, so I will yield to the Chair then. I'm quite relieved that she's back.
I am not sure at what point I should start.
You must just start. You just got disconnected while I think you were on the first or second slide. Yeah, may I ask Honorable Shilembe to mute Galaxy Tab A to mute so that we allow
muted
Mezamini to be the only one who's making a presentation. Please proceed, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Apologies for that. I think I will skip this page of the presentation outline. Let us go to the next page, which is, okay, the presentation, of course, is to the Portfolio Committee on Defense and Military Veterans. And I'll be outlining the operations of the AB and also the challenges. Now, the new appeal board has come in with effect from the 1st of September 2023. This is, there's a gap of a little less than 2 years between the newly appointed board to the previous board. And in this period of less than 2 years, of course, the appeals continued to be lodged by the military veterans. We take our cue from the legal framework, which is the supreme law of the country. The Constitution, Section 33, gives us the administrative action, the just administrative action, which is supported by the PAJA, the Promotion of Administrative and Justice Act number 3 of 2000, which amongst other things states that the decisions that the public administration takes must be lawful, must be reasonable, and must be procedurally fair. So when we approach our work, we also look at what PAJA expects of us in terms of also linking that with the decisions that the department may have taken in terms of the military veteran that is lodging the appeal. The act that actually gives us the mandate is the Military Veterans Act number 18 of 2011. Chapter 19 and 20 establishes the Military Veterans Appeal Board and also gives us the powers and the duties, while Section 5 directs us into which 11 benefits are we supposed to entertain when the appeal is lodged. Let's go to the next. Now, as we have been appointed from the 1st of September, we are 4 persons that have been appointed. And amongst the 4, we have 1 person who is a military veteran. We have 2 that are females and 2 that are males. And the combined expertise of all of us is that we have expertise that include law, that also include national security and leadership. The names of all of us, as I've been introduced, I'm Nomsa Dlamini, the chairperson. We have Mr. Prince Mufojane. We have Advocate Takalani Masebe. We have Advocate Veldhuizen. And as well, we are being supported by the Secretariat. The powers and duties according to the Act, in Section 20, it stipulates that we consider any appeal lodged by a military veteran against any adverse decision that the department may have issued. Also is that procedurally, it's the majority of the members that influence the decision that we will ultimately take. We conform to the laws, especially the Constitution, the PAJA. We also do look at case law as it sets precedence of whatever that we are supposed to decide on. We are given powers also to summon any person who may be able to assist us by giving more information for the purposes of the appeal. The 9 benefits that are listed there that we also consider, it's benefits that cover issues of education, burial support, pension, access to health, housing, compensation in terms of injury or issue of PTSD, or dedicated counseling, also treatment of issues of PTSD as well, honoring and memorialization, facilitation of advice in terms of business opportunities, also facilitation of employment placement, and also skills development, training, and education. May we go to the next one? So the appeal board, as I have stated, was appointed with effect from the 1st of September. Already the Honorable Deputy Minister convened an inaugural meeting where he outlined the expectations that the ministry has for the AB according to the law, and also sensitizing us in terms of the expectation that the military veterans also have, as well as the DMV, because as the appeal board, we are supposed to be impartial. We have to do our work without bias. So as we are looking at appeals, we are hearing what the DMV is saying, but also considering what the appellant is saying. The law directs us, the procedures or the regulations of the DMV direct our decision making. Also, the acting director general attended the meeting. I should also state that as the issue of the pension is being discussed, yes, the DG also impressed upon the newly appointed appeal board that we have to start in earnest to do our work, because it is anticipated that we will be receiving appeals for people who may have been rejected because they do not meet the criteria. So we are also gearing up to ensure that we start. But before that, even the GM did highlight that there needs to be a workshop that we should attend with the DMV. That actually comes from the recommendation from the previous appeal board, because we do acknowledge that without a seamless partnership and working relationship with the DMV, the military veterans that are appealing are the ones actually that are going to suffer. So what is good from the beginning is that we do need to have a good relationship, this good stakeholder relationship between the two. So the DM has instructed that there has to be this workshop, which will also serve as an induction to the new members of the appeal board. Can we go to the next slide? Now, in the meantime, in preparation of this induction and of this workshop, the new members of the appeal board have been furnished with important documents, including the handover report from the previous board, the terms of reference of the board, and I'm sure at some point, of course, we're going to have access to the regulations of the DMV, which really are going to guide our decision making. So the the workshop for now, tentatively, is set for the 15th of November. We do think that it may take 2 days, because the first day we have to deal with the issues of induction and, base or foundational prescripts of the appeal board. But at some point, the appeal board itself has to have time to reflect and see if we're able to come out with a work plan of how we are going to approach our work, so that we can really be able to start producing and doing what we have been appointed to do. We can go to the next slide. So as we stand right now, the work distribution is that we currently have 28 files that are carried over from the previous board. And from this period that I was talking about, between the previous board and the newly appointed board, the appeals that came in are 45 in number. In terms of the benefits of these, the files that await attention, we have 25 for education, we have 15 for housing, we have 5 for healthcare. All in all, the work that we have as of now is 72 files. And in terms of challenges, because the appeal board has not commenced with its duties, we have nothing to report in terms of challenges. We just look forward to a good working relationship with the DMV, hoping that whatever challenges were there last year, we have all learned, and we will do better this year. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I will now at this point invite honorable members to engage the presentation. Honorable Shalembe.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. One must appreciate for the board, to come and introduce themselves into the committee, which is good, and hoping from now onwards we'll be working with the committee. I can see that they still have to undergo sort of, exchange of reports, this and that, and my request is that I think these appeal boards must make sure that maybe before their term of office comes to an end, at least, they advise the committee or whosoever on time to avoid, a situation where, say, the term of office for the previous appeals board, was in 2021, and up until to date, there has been no, appeals board. And I'm hopeful, the communication between the board and the ministry will be good. Was my concern is that I think all of us as the committee, we have been worried about was that it's good that the appeals board is the hope of military veterans or whosoever to say if they have problems, they'll have, a decision. But it seems the decision that anyway will be taken by the same appeals board will depend, on the concurrence of the ministry. If not, so it's going to be a challenge. And I'm looking forward to seeing that maybe as they work in terms of the Military Veterans Act, something will be done so that at least those who will be appealing will know what to do in the case where, the minister, is not, concurring with the committee. Say the committee says this should be considered positively, and the minister comes and say no to it. So I think for now, it means the path stops by the minister. So I don't see any other options for those, who will be appealing, but it's a matter of the committee to look at. I can't put that because they work within the confines of of what is given to them. But in short, I appreciate that at least we have the committee in place that will be working and assisting those who will be appealing. So for now, I don't think I'll have a question because, as they say, they are in the process of exchanging the report from the previous appeals board. No, thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Shelembe. I don't see any other hands. Yeah. Thank you very much to the board for your new responsibility as the appeals board. As the committee, we will support you and the work that you will be doing going forward. And we are looking forward to working together with you and supporting you so that you are able to execute your mandate without fear or favor. We then congratulate you on this responsibility that is bestowed upon you, and we are hopeful that you will execute it with excellence. So with that said, there are no any other hands or comment on this. We are wishing you luck in your responsibility. I'm not sure if DM you have an input on appeals board as we will be concluding the meeting.
No, from my side, I'm satisfied, Chair and Honorable members, that eventually we have succeeded to put back in place the appeals board of the DMV. Of course, in the remarks of Honorable Member Shelembe, something is suggested there that there must be harmony with everyone else in the course of the execution of its mandate, mandate of the appeals board. The issue, members, has actually not been tensions between the appeals board and the minister or the minister's office. No. That is not where our challenge manifested in the previous with the previous appeals board. The tensions have arisen and actually got very bad, in my personal view, between the Department of Military Veterans and the appeals board. And that tension was a function of poor flow of information that the department should have ensured to the appeals board when the appeals board goes through the review of applications. Because for the appeals board to judge issues fairly, they must have a good account of why the department opted for the stance the department has taken on a matter, and view that against the submission of the applicant. And most of the time, the department was not providing that information. And in some instances, the department's officials who were expected to be in attendance of the meetings of the appeals board would not honor that responsibility. And it ended up with the appeals board concluding on matters
I'm not sure, DM, we can't hear you anymore. Medlamini, please mute, and Mr. Mutumi, please mute. Mr. Mutumi, may you please mute your mic? Okay, DM, can you hear me?
I've lost you.
Yeah, he was still in the meeting. I don't know what happened. I think there's a connectivity issue right there. But we've got the gist of his input. And they are well placed. Medlamini, your last parting shot.
Thank you, Chairperson. I welcome the input that were made by honorable members and also the DM. It gives, I believe, the appeal board, issues to deeply look into as we go to our workshop. These are some of the matters that we need to reflect upon so that we continue doing our work in the manner that we're expected to. So I'm just also appreciative of the expression of support from the portfolio committee to say that the committee will really work together with us and will give us support. We do hope as well that as we begin, we will also conduct ourselves as members of the board in a manner that is befitting in terms of the values that are inscribed in our act, to be impartial, to be fair, and to do our work without bias. Thank you very much, Chair.
All right. Thank you very much, Medlamini, the chair of the appeals board, and the team that is accompanying you into this meeting. We wish you luck in your responsibility. And I think, honorable members, that this brings us to the end of discussions insofar as this item is concerned. We move to the next item. I think the next item is closure. Do we have minutes, Brian? Or I can safely close the meeting?
Indeed, we do have 2 sets of minutes.
All right. No, it's fine. Let's release officials from the department. Thank you very much for your presence and time to ensure that you attend these meetings and assist in providing responses or clarity where clarity is needed. Medlamini and the team, you are also released, as we will be dealing with the internal matters of the committee. Yes, Brian. Let's look at minutes. Let's deal with
Thank
the
you,
first.
Chairperson.
Thank you very much,
Chair.
Admiral. The first set of minutes. These are minutes of the portfolio committee that was convened and set on the 25th of October 2023. Attendance there indicated. The spelling of Honorable Pesha is correct this time. Introduction. Next page, we received an update from Chief HR. We had our deliberations. We also considered and consideration and adoption of the BRRR. Number 7, there we received a briefing by the content advisor. And then we had deliberation, tabling of invitations, resolutions, and action of the committee. And the meeting was then closed by the chair and adjourned at 12:30. Congrats to you, honorable members. I'm hearing myself. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you, sir. Well, there's an
Loud and clear.
Okay, no, it's fine. No, it's fine. Honorable members, if you have any input, corrections, if none, then can we move for the adoptions of the minutes? Yes, a true reflection.
Mr. Mafanya moves for the adoption.
Shelembe, we are again.
All right, Honorable Shelembe. I see Honorable Pesha, your hand is up.
No, I'm fine. I wanted to say because today my surname is well spelled, I should be the first to move.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Thank you very much. The minutes are duly adopted. Can we move to the next set of minutes? The meeting was held on the 1st of this month. Yet again, there's no spelling error there. Can we move to the next page? Consideration of minutes, briefing by DMV, annual report, deliberation. This was the shortest meeting. Deliberations there. Resolution and action of the committee. And the meeting was then adjourned. Can I get an indication if there's a correction, an omission on the minutes? I don't see any hand. It means there's none. Can we then move for the adoption of the minutes?
Honorable Peke moves, Chair, for the adoption of the minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Peke. Any seconder?
Mafanya seconds.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mafanya seconds. That means the minutes are duly adopted. And this brings us to the end of our meeting. I have not had, this meeting will not go well without the voice of Honorable Murray. How are you, Honorable Murray? Are you well?
He just got disconnected now. I saw him, he got disconnected now.
Oh, he's still in the meeting and the public is waiting to hear his voice.
Mr. Mute, rule me out. I'm part of the public, but rule me out. I don't want to hear it.
All right, no, it's fine. I hope, Honorable Mare, you are well, my good sir. So with that said, honorable members, this brings us to the end of today's meeting. It's only for me to wish you well. The meeting is adjourned, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Baba.
Recording stopped.